For years, everyone thought Verizon had the best network, because they did. But now the best mobile network in the U.S. is T-Mobile. T-Mobile's network has the most advanced 5G, with more towers, and their signal reaches further than ever. So you can text and Insta-Talk and say, "You won't believe where I am."
T-Mobile has the best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of speed test intelligence data 1H 2025. See T-Mobile.com/network.
Whether you're deciding what gifts to buy or which game to watch, there's one place where it feels good to be right. PrizePicks. Our entire Footballers team has been excited each week to share our PrizePicks lineups, and now the NBA is in full send mode. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code DFS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code DFS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers DFS and Betting Podcast with your hosts, Kyle Borganoni and Matthew Betz.
Welcome in. Tuesday, December 9th here. Fantasy Footballers DFS and Betting Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Borganoni, and I am joined, as always, by Matthew. He's at a new low point, Betz.
Yeah. I mean, what is there to say, Kyle, about the NFL these days? About my teams these days? About our Buccaneers these days?
Oh, man.
I can't even put into words what this weekend was. I mean, hopefully you guys all out there had an awesome weekend. I hated it. Hated every second.
I'm pretty sure that when I was messaging you, because it was at the point where we knew our Buccaneers for Survivor were in a really bad spot. I mean, of course, they're at home against Tyler Shuck, so you knew it was a bad spot. Imagine picking the Bucs. And then I go to I've had the gauntlet of kids events recently. Like I had the Christmas show last night. I was at the Winter Chorus concert, which was a joy, a new level of dadding I unlocked, a new achievement badge. But during that Christmas concert, I'm texting Betz and I go, this isn't going to go well. And I don't know if you've recovered since then. I don't know if you've ever been at a lower point in your life.
I have not recovered since Sunday at approximately 4 Eastern. And just watching it unfold was so painful. Like, to Shuck's credit, and I actually played him in small field. Maybe it was a hedge. I played him in small field.
He was slippery.
My man is back there evading sacks, running for 40-yard touchdowns. Come on. When they didn't wrap up on that last one when he ran for a touchdown, I was like, it's over. And then Godwin fumbles and bumbles it out of bounds. And Emeka Egbuka. Kyle, do we have the Egbuka drop? Hit it.
Rookie sensation, wide receiver out of Ohio State, Emeka Egbuka.
Egbuka is what we should be calling him right now. This man is dropping everything out there. And yes, it's wet, and they got the gloves on. Gloves are off. Gloves are back on. Snip, snap, snip, snap. Dropping everything out there, Kyle. It's just, God, this team, they had it. They had it. And they couldn't do it for us.
It was painful because in the contest we were in, I believe most people, the Buccaneers were played by 60% of the field. I think ours was at 65%. And our other option was to play the Seahawks. And at halftime, the Falcons showed up, right? It was 6-6. It was a tight game. I'm in the middle of texting back saying, hey, man, I knew this was going to be close. We got a good pass rush. I don't even finish the text, and Rashid Shaheed takes it to the house. I never sent it to you.
That's just beautiful. Oh, man. Yeah.
So it was a tough weekend, and then we had a little Monday Night Discord event, which went really well, by the way.
It was great.
Me, you, and Chris Cash. I believe the key to the slate I talked about was Cameron Dicker, so that one felt really, really good. I had a couple lineups that did fine. AJ Brown and Captain got there exactly on the 100-yard bonus. That was kind of nice. But I think the big story is the fact that things aren't going so well for your team.
I hate this team. I hate it. I hate them. Hate everything about them. Hate watching them play. They're the least watchable offense in football. Literally the worst. Because, yep, just... dang it, Kyle. Just let this play for a minute. Oh my gosh. Everybody at home, on their couch, knows what is going to happen when Jalen Hurts lines up in shotgun. Everybody knows. You know, I know, the opposing team knows. People that don't even know football, watching them run this offense is a complete joke. Can I give you some numbers, Kyle? This is credit to Warren Sharp. When they ran shotgun last night, which by the way was 51 plays, and every single play in overtime, 4.2 yards per play, 2.5 yards per rush, 4 interceptions. Under center, only 15 times, 10.2 yards per play, 8.8 yards per carry, no interceptions. I don't understand. And look, Kevin Patullo, my brother, when you're at the 2-yard line, there's this thing in Philadelphia that we do. It's called the tush push. For the last 3 or 4 years, it's worked beautifully. But you know what? Why would you? This is the last year we're going to have it legal. They're going to ban it next year. But no. Let's get in shotgun and hand it off for a negative 2-yard carry. Then let's line up in shotgun again and throw with nobody in the backfield. It is inept. And it's not just Kevin Patullo, which, Kevin, my guy, this is your last season in Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts is not built to throw the football. The Eagles last year won the Super Bowl because Hurts was good when he had to be in certain moments when they can throw from strength. When they have to throw from a weakness position, meaning they're losing or in a close game, it's night. Last night, Jalen Hurts completed 5 of 20 passes for 99 yards, not even 100, 4 interceptions when he held the ball for longer than 2.5 seconds. The man cannot read the defense. He's lost out there. This is the worst Super Bowl hangover I think we've seen in quite a long time. The Eagles are going to make the playoffs. Yeah, whatever. Hang the banner. I do not even want to watch this team for another month plus. Like, can we just, honestly, go Cowboys? Like, put the Cowboys in the playoffs over the Eagles in the NFC East. They at least have a chance. This Eagles offense is a train wreck, a complete joke. Since the bye week, Kyle, they are one of, goodness gracious, they are one of 5 teams that have a 40% success rate or lower. Can I read you the other teams? The Houston Texans. Okay. Offensive line issues. Stroud was in and out of the lineup. Yeah, whatever. The Jets. The freaking Jets, who played Tyrod Taylor and Brady Cook in recent weeks. The Cleveland Browns. The Tennessee Titans. This is the last year we'll see this group in Philly together. Patullo, A.J. Brown. Because you can't get rid of Hurts. You paid him. You can't. So he's stuck here. The marriage is there. Somebody's going to have to go. I hate this team.
You've been very adamant about how mad you are at your team. And I was asking you the question, I believe my text was, quote, do the Eagles know how to use the controller when they're on offense?
Nope.
Or are they just kind of unplugged? I even got to the point, like, I love the Chargers. That's been well documented. But I said, I'm not strong enough to watch this game. I love the Chargers, but I think I hate the Eagles offense more.
I can't blame you. It's the least watchable offense in the entire NFL.
It's sad seeing your heroes, like Saquon looks like he aged 10 years. He had a couple of nice runs last night, but there are some plays where you just go, this isn't gonna work. So Betz is in a different place today, and I think Survivor didn't help.
No,
that we bottomed out there.
You know what's worse?
Huh?
Kellen Moore is taking a Saints ragtag crew with offensive line injuries and already a bad offensive line, and Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler, and making the offense function in a way that works. And you have the Eagles, which basically is the same exact personnel from last year, just lost. I mean, go Saints. Go everybody else in the NFC. I hate the Eagles. I don't want to watch them in the playoffs. There's no point. You know they're going to get to the wild card round. Going to play in a tight game. Maybe they win by a field goal because of their defense, but this team is not winning the Super Bowl. Let's move on. Let's get to 2026.
Dude, I've been in that place for my entire life. Like, this team isn't winning the Super Bowl. So I understand your concern. I will say that Kevin Patullo, I need to check him out on LinkedIn because I bet he's got to update that very, very soon. Update that profile. That's a big deal. 2026, open for hire. he'll be there for that. But I don't know how your week went, but if you are alive in your home leagues, congratulations. If you advanced in best ball,
Oh, yes.
I really do want to congratulate you for basically doing nothing the last 4 months. Let's be honest. You drafted and then you sat there and couldn't do anything about it. So I have a team that's through that I was very, very proud of. That I looked at how the roster got there, and Daniel Jones was part of it, and he's gone. He's gone from that roster. But
Dude,
anyway,
so sad.
make sure you share. We want to, have those best ball sweats with you guys over the next couple weeks. Just realize the teams that advance most likely gone. They're going to be gone in a week or so, but it'll be fun to sweat that out with you guys. We also have a really exciting slate that is jam-packed. I mean, we're talking 13 games on the week 15 main slate. And then you get the joy of writing up my Falcons for Thursday night, man. Bucks and Falcons.
Is this the matchup last year that you were swag surfing at?
So this one's at Tampa Bay, which we won there as well. We swept the Buccaneers last year. People forget that.
People don't forget. Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited about that because I think we'll get Mike Evans back this week, so it'll change the offense a little bit. So maybe they get Tristan Wirfs back. Would love for this team to rebound 1 week later. Would love it for them. Would be so happy for the Bucks to win this game. God, I hate the Bucks. That'll be in the DFS this week.
It'll be the Thursday night article. You also get the joy of writing up such Falcons wide receivers as Devin Tompkins, David Sills, and Dylan Drummond. Those are players that actually are starting right now for the Falcons.
That's wild, man. That is truly incredible that is obviously Mooney and Pitts, but that is a core wide receiver room based off the Drake London injury, which I don't think he plays this week. That is going to be a miserable experience to write that game.
Let me just say that again. We have wide receivers named Drake London, Darnell Mooney. So you know those two names, Drake, Darnell. Then we have guys named David, Devin, and Dylan. There's no way that David, Devin, and Dylan, you couldn't convince me those were guys that were in your 10th grade chemistry class.
Oh, absolutely.
David Tompkins, Dylan Drummond, David Sills. Those guys were all there.
The boys.
So, yeah. Anyway, we're going to move forward and talk about that this upcoming slate because it is really, really fun. We also have a ton of teams that when we break it down, I'm like, man, there's so many different options that you can go to. There is one game that is so far above the rest that it'll be the one talked about. So all of our picks you can find dfspass.com, but let's quickly rewind.
Weekly Rewind.
All right, so we talked about our survivor pool. We will still give out picks if you want picks, if you're somehow still alive because you decided to juke out the Bucks. I'll share with you what we had in front of us, so that'll be fun. In terms of cash this past week, I wrote up my review article, you wrote up your small field. I think where the field was a bit overconfident was in some of the running back plays, the James Cook, the Josh Jacobs. And so one of the things we talked about was that there are other plays that you could have pivoted to. I did not pivot to Tony Pollard. I did not see that coming. I did pivot in one spot to Blake Corum because I played Corum and Puka together. Now the rest of my lineup was doo-doo. So it sounds like I was doing really, really well. But I was fortunate in cash to play a Puka lineup. And not many people played Puka. He was at 13% in the double ups that I was playing in. That and obviously playing Michael Wilson, who went off for 40 points, was incredible. And then not playing Jaden Daniels was actually how I had a pretty good run out in cash this week. So for me, I was fortunate to cash, but Puka was the one that got me there.
Yeah, it was an interesting slate. And I think my biggest takeaway from this week's slate, and this happens often throughout the year, is there's 3 to 5, when we get to November, December slates that are impacted by weather. And I'm not saying I'm not guilty of this too, because sometimes I am. I think we often overreact to the weather. And we need to remember that people out in Vegas, the odds makers, are not unaware to what is happening around the country when it comes to weather. It's already baked into the line and the total and stuff like that. So I know a lot of people were super worried about, the Bills and Bengals, right? And of course it goes for a bonanza, a ton of points. I moved off Trevor Lawrence in cash because of the weather, and I think making decisions like that in cash games is totally fair because you're just saying, hey, let's play it safe. Let's make the best median outcome here. But like in ceiling outcome cases, it's still there. Josh Allen and Joe Burrow in the snow, doesn't matter, 70 plus points or whatever it was. So I actually played Allen in cash with James Cook. I just said, hey, I hope this game goes off and the Bills get there, which I was very fortunate to have Allen do Superman things, which was very, very fun. But I thought the trickiest thing on the slate was, from a cash perspective, trying to figure out like how you build around 3 running backs, because all those guys were great plays, right? Achane, James Cook, who obviously failed, but James Cook, and then Josh Jacobs was kind of the third one floating around. I really wanted to try to make sure I had at least 2 of those guys, and ideally 3. I couldn't fit all 3. I ended up with an Achane team, and honestly, in the first quarter, I was like, oh, baby, we're doing big things this week. Unfortunately, got injured. But from there, it was tough because I feel like if you had 3 of those guys, you couldn't spend up for Puka, and it kind of forced you onto these like mid-tier type wide receivers, which, again, I'll keep saying like over and over every week, because of the pricing structure, there are undervalued wide receivers there in that range. This week it was Michael Wilson. We'll see what happens this week. But just historically on DraftKings, like getting these elite RB plays this year and some of these mid-tier wide receivers has been a very, very viable option. It's not going to be the same every week, but I think on the season, that's kind of been right for most of the year.
Yeah, I think that's just something that to monitor in your process. So write this down however you need to, is just understanding what you need at a certain price point. And DraftKings is not pricing certain players. We talked about cheap quarterbacks. We talked about these 5K wide receivers as, hey, you need to keep playing them. And the field slowly kind of responded in a way where, okay, this is how I want to play this. Now, you did have some bad runouts. Like if you play Jaden Daniels, that stinks.
Yeah.
It stinks that's how it turned out. But there's also some volatility we talked about at defense. Because people were playing the Titans and Browns at such a high level, I made it one of those things where I'm not playing those 2 teams in tournaments. It's just like, I can find this somewhere else. I can find another team to get 10 plus points. So it was interesting. Like the Commanders were a popular team, but if you just flip the script and played the Vikings instead, you could have gotten there. So
yeah, I was just going to bring that up. Like you could have played a very chalky, well-projected team around just doing like 1 or 2 simple things on the slate, I thought, because it was so groupthink where like everything was going to the Commanders defense for cash games, because the way builds worked, like it was tough to get up to the Titans or even a little bit further. So if you didn't have Commanders, and then also people started on Sunday morning, I never really considered Jaden Daniels in cash, but I think a lot of the field did. A lot of people were saying, I'll play Jaden Daniels and I'll play Commanders defense. And if you just say, oh, I'll just play Vikings defense, if Jaden and the Commanders defense fail, you have huge leverage on the field. And it's easy to say that in hindsight, obviously, but just from a process standpoint, if you fade those 2 pieces and you play the Vikings defense, you could have played a very chalky lineup around that one thing, and then likely had a lot of success. So just remember, in tournaments, you don't have to like play 6 or 7 contrarian options. You just play 2 or 3, and the good projected plays often perform well, as they do this year. It just seems like the best plays just kind of continue to produce. So that's just my biggest takeaway on the slate. GPP 101, flip it, play the other defense on the other side, and get leverage.
My favorite play of the week is that I just held to my guns and I played Dawson Knox in a tournament.
And
dude, tight end 1. The tight end 1 for the team.
Dude, the Bengals. It's process, so beautiful.
The process just keeps working. So it was I had a good week overall. Nothing like too big, but a positive week for me. We did have some winners that won big. This one's from Pete's Meats. He said, I took down 10th last night for $500 in the showdown. So this looks like the Sunday night game where the Texans beat the Chiefs out of over 14,000 people. I want to say thank you to the Discord community, Borg Betz, for all the work you do. I love the show. I know it's not a lot of dineros, but it is for me. We're going to Chili's, baby. Don Julio Margs on me. So when he said we going to Chili's and it's on me, Pete is saying that he's going to pay for ours.
That's how I took it.
Okay. Well, make sure you keep sharing those. We love getting to celebrate with you guys, and hopefully you get a little Christmas cash. Like that's the best part about this season. Set aside a little bit buy something for somebody else with your DFS winnings. That's really what we're trying to encourage here. Let's take a break, and then we'll talk about the Week 15 slate.
Traditions are a game changer. Traditions have the power to turn a simple moment into a memory. Bring a whole city together. And they're even what inspires us at Tostitos to make our masa the traditional way. Starting with whole corn kernels. No artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. We craft our chips for whatever your tradition is. Tostitos. Tradition matters. Official chip and dip sponsor of the NFL.
Getting more as a MyLowe's Pro Rewards member is easier than ever with the Lowe's app. Download it today and earn 500 points the first time you log in. Plus, your digital wallet helps you scan, save, earn, and access what you need to manage it all in one place. Download the Lowe's app and take advantage of your Pro benefits today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid 12/1/25 through 1/7/26. Offer valid for first login per organization only. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Additional restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms for more details. Subject to change.
State of the main slate.
Week 15 on the main slate, we have 13 games. There's no more bye weeks. And then just a standard Thursday night game, Sunday night, which is our Cowboys versus the Vikings, and then Monday night, Steelers and Dolphins. I think one of my biggest high-level points I need to bring up is despite this being a 13-game main slate for DFS, only 3 of the games are in a dome this week. 3 of them. And the early reports about the weather, which we don't want to overemphasize, is that it will be cold. Kevin Roth, who does a lot of work with Roto Grinders, said, by my count, we've got 7 games with freezing temperatures for this next week. Some of those in the 20s, and one of the games, the Chicago and Cleveland game, is close to 10 degrees. From our research, and we have articles on the website, one of them is called Weather Really Matters. Freezing temperatures do not change the game as much as you would think, and we care more about wind gusts and how that changes the overall passing volume. But overall, I just think the lack of dome environments is not great when you look at the slate.
There's one game being played in a dome that looks
and you can
amazing.
You can tell.
Yeah, I'm going to skip ahead real quick here, but I mean, Rams Lions in a dome with a 55.5. 55! Oh, baby. That one looks really fun, obviously. So, yeah, like you said, and when you look at these slates, it can be really intimidating, right? Because it's like, oh, man, we've been so used to these 10-game slates. Last week, I think, was 11. Now we're back to 13 because we don't have the bye weeks. But really, when you start to whittle it down, like Eagles, Raiders. And then, that's a tough sell. Bears, Browns, okay? Super cold. Do we think Shador repeats what he did last week? Probably not. Jacksonville against whatever the Jets are doing, the Seahawks against whatever the Colts are doing. Eventually the slate starts to get a little bit smaller. So I wouldn't be overwhelmed by the 13. I think it probably will play more like a 9-10 game slate, which we've been doing for the last 2 months anyway.
Yeah, it's hard. It's gonna be hard to get away from that game. Now the price adjusted strategy that you need to employ is, Puka's expensive, Stafford's expensive. Jahmyr Gibbs is worth the price. I was looking at his projections early in the week, and I was like, okay, you can look at the Rams as a tough run defense, and then you can look at Jahmyr Gibbs, who's being targeted on over 30% of his routes over the last month, where you factor in, I don't know, where would you set the line at his receptions? It's probably too early in the week for us to, but I put it at 5.5.
It's been at 4.5 most weeks, just without Laporta and everything. So probably 4.5, maybe 5.5 with juice to the under.
It's really hard to get away from him this week if you're attacking that game. So anyway, I'm excited to break that one down in about 30 different ways. That's a lot of points for 2025 NFL.
Yeah.
55.5. So the other game that I want to highlight earlier in the week is the Ravens at the Bengals. We've talked about the Bengals nonstop this year, second most combined points per game. When you look at Bengals games this past week, obviously it was great between the Bengals and the Bills. What a goofy division, by the way, the AFC North. The fact that the Bengals still have a chance to make their way to the playoffs at this point, despite being, 4-9, is hilarious. I think they have a 4% chance. They have to just run the gauntlet and hope for some good stuff from the Steelers. But that totals at 52.5. It was nice to see Lamar back on a fantasy standpoint. I don't feel like he was fully back, but we did get over 40 rushing yards. We also had another touchdown that was likely to happen. It didn't happen. But anyway, that game's going to profile as one of the ones that we definitely want to look at. I know that we will not have T. Higgins, though, correct?
Correct. Yeah, back in concussion protocol. Pretty scary situation. Obviously, you missed the Thanksgiving game, I think it was, with the concussion. Second one in 3 weeks, basically. I think there's a pretty good chance he could land on IR and just be done for the year. If you're the Bengals, you can't risk a third with him. Obviously, there's some long-term implications there, but yeah, back in concussion protocol, so that could open up, like a Mike Gesicki we've seen in the past pop up when he's been off the field, or if you wanted to stack with Yoshi or Tinsley or whoever the cheap option there is, that will open up some opportunity for those Burrow stacks.
Yeah, so those games are kind of above the rest. The Bills and Patriots games also sitting at 50.5. The Bills are 1.5-point road favorites. So those are kind of the games that are above the rest. There's some other dome environments we'll talk about that are maybe a little bit sneakier, but hit me with the teams with the highest implied totals.
At the top, we've got the Rams, 30.8. The Niners, 28.5 coming out of the bye week. The Ravens, Seahawks, and Jaguars tied at 27, and then Buffalo and Houston at 26.
When I'm looking at sneaky games for Week 15, I'm looking through the list, and I go, okay, well, what are the only dome games left? If we know that the Rams and Lions game is there, and I'm staring at the Panthers coming off the bye, traveling to the Saints who broke our heart. The total's doo-doo. It's at 40.5. We don't really care about that, but I do think there's some cheap ways to gain access to this game. If it's a shuck skinny stack with a Rico bringback, I am interested in that because this is a dome game.
I could buy it. I feel like the Panthers are a weird team too, where
I have no idea what they are week to week.
Yeah, sometimes you're like, okay, this game is probably going to be a slog, and then Bryce Young goes out in the rain against the Rams and shreds. So yeah, who knows? But anytime that you have cheap stacking options, I think especially on DK, it works well at times if you get the reception volume to go your way. That's why I played Shuck, was like, he's cheap, Vele is cheap, and Juwan Johnson, I played with him, is cheap. And I just hope that the Bucs got up to a lead and they would just throw in. Even if they didn't score a bunch of points, you can get the PPR reception volume if it goes the right way for you on DK. So I'm more interested in these types of games where the team totals are so low, and on FanDuel you have to have touchdowns, where this specific scoring format on DK can sometimes get there with these cheap stacks, even if the game total is low. So I do like that call early in the week.
Yeah, you have down here for a sneaky game, Washington at New York Giants. And we'll talk about Dart later. I think he's probably one of the easier clicks of the week.
Yeah, he's obviously very interesting, just given the price point and what he's been able to do on a per drop back basis. Obviously, the matchup is ideal. We just saw JJ McCarthy get home against this Commanders team. We're still waiting on Jaden Daniels to know if he's going to play or not. They have said there's no necessarily re-injury as far as structural damage, but he's sore. I think if you're the Commanders and you kind of look at what's happened this year, maybe it's best to give Mariota the ball here, but we'll see. And Mariota is cheap if he is the guy. And then on the unfortunate Zach Ertz news, which really is a bummer, there's open opportunity for McLaurin, for Debo, and then they still have the Giants guys pretty cheap. Like Slayton's cheap, especially on FanDuel. Wandale is cheap. So I just think if you wanted to skinny stack Dart or Mariota and just bring it back with one piece on the other side, this game looks really interesting, just given how much these defenses have struggled this year.
All right, the game that I think I want to be underweight on, it is a dome game, so I do need to preface that. It's Cardinals and Texans. The Cardinals options are now priced up based on what they've done over the last 6 weeks. And yet, they're running into an absolute wall, an absolute unit of a defense that's been on a roll. The implied total of 16.5 doesn't give me a ton of confidence. We kind of saw that with Jacoby last week. He got there for fantasy purposes, but the offense, other than Michael Wilson, it wasn't a great game from this is how well the offense was, how efficient they were. And I think this is one of those games where I could see it being a slog, just the way that Houston wants to play. So I think I'm going to be underweight because I think we're at the point now where they are too expensive and this isn't the right game environment.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. The biggest question I think people have in season long, too, is like, if you've been riding with Jacoby and getting all these top 12 fantasy finishes, it's been incredible. But now you're in the playoffs of your fantasy league. Are you going to start Jacoby Brissett against this Houston defense? I personally am not. That seems terrifying.
I have Jacoby in my 2 main home leagues, and I am not starting him this week because I have the bye.
Ooh,
so
what a flex.
That was a flex. I do need to throw this in there too. This game is not set up in a way where the Texans want it to be a shootout. I mean, they have the fewest combined points per game of any team. So their games are combining for just 37.8 points.
Yeah.
Already.
And like you said, too, with the Jacoby run out, obviously it's been extremely pure. Like, couldn't have gone better from a game script standpoint for how they're playing, which struggling to run the ball. They're willing to drop him back 40 times a game. They've gotten behind, big to the Rams, the Bucks, the Jags. The Niners just boat raced them. Like, it's been perfect game scripts, the Seahawks, to just come out and chuck. In this spot, I don't think you're going to get that type of volume. And let's just say that the Texans do get up by 2 touchdowns. That pass rush against a banged up and struggling offensive line with a not super mobile quarterback seems like complete recipe for failure, especially at these prices in DFS, which is really the key. You just need this stack to get home, and I don't have confidence that it will in this matchup at these elevated prices. So I'm probably out on the Cardinals this week.
Yeah, Texans are 3,600 on DraftKings if you want to pay up for a defense. I like passing volume is great if you are using that in a great game environment. And then in the other instance, you get to flip it and say, oh, I want that for my defense. I want more opportunities to create turnovers.
Yep. I like the Houston D a lot. I don't know if they'll be in cash play, but the ceiling on them this week is massive. I'm going to go with the frozen game in Chicago. I'll be underweight on Cleveland and Chicago. The Browns coming off a 99th percentile outcome for Shedeur Sanders. I'll just say that probably doesn't happen again when nobody saw it coming. Cleveland also has some major issues on the offensive line. They just lost their starting center to a season-ending injury. They have left tackle, left guard, and now center issues, which is not great when you have a rookie quarterback back there. And then in Chicago, we know what they want to do, control the ball, establish the run game, and then let Caleb go off play action. So I do think play volume here is going to be hard to come by, especially in this, what did you say, 10-degree weather?
Yes.
Oof. Would you go to the game? Like, if you were a diehard fan, would you go to a 10-degree weather game?
Did I get a free ticket? Yes. I'm one of those people, we've talked about this before, that I am 100% okay not going to a game. It does not, there is nothing in me that says I have to go to a game. And also, another contrarian thing maybe people don't like, I am 100%, I would prefer sometimes watching the games by myself.
Oh, I am with you, brother. That is 100% a take I can get behind. Like, I go to a couple games a year, whether it's Penn State or maybe an Eagles game. People are idiots, man. Like, I don't know. I don't want to be sitting around crazy drunk people doing stupid stuff when it's normal weather, let alone when it's, friggin' 10 degrees. Give me a break. So I'm with you. Give me the slippers.
Yep.
Give me the tea or whatever beverage you like on the couch. That seems way more enjoyable to me. Maybe we're just getting old.
My friends that have season tickets to the Falcons have already sold them for the rest of the year. Like, that's a pro move.
Yeah, I can't blame you.
No, there's people here. It's like, no, I would bleed for my team. Like, no, it's okay to not have to do that all the time. But also, I mean, I'll get together with some friends probably and we'll watch this week's Thursday night game because it's an island game. I can focus on that. But I think for our jobs on a Sunday, if I go to a game, I feel like I'm missing out.
Yeah.
By the way, the Falcons play the Cardinals next week in Arizona. So
big game.
Maybe need to hop on a plane. The team that I'm most confident or very confident hitting the over of their implied total is the Giants. You brought that up as a sneaky game. The Washington defense has reverted to a new low this year. I feel bad for Dan Quinn because, I have a soft spot in my heart for him, but their defense is allowing 27 points per game. They're dead last in yards per attempt allowed. And the Giants are 7th in plays per game. So they run a ton of plays and their games have combined for the 7th most points per game, almost 50 points. So I think this is a spot where a Jackson Dart skinny stack is a great way to start this week.
Love it. I'm going to go over 28.5 on the Niners. Obviously, it's a lofty total, but I still think they can get there against the Titans. Niners coming out of the bye week. Purdy has been, I would say, inconsistent. He's still kind of recovering, getting 100% from the turf toe injury that sidelined him for 2 months. And you've seen him when he's dropped back to pass, struggle with downfield accuracy and power. I think the bye week will help. Come out of the bye week, they're healthy, get him going a little bit more, and you get a Titans defense that was just obliterated by the Browns. 6.4 yards per play allowed last week, and obviously a ton of points for the Cleveland Browns. So give me the Niners out of the bye week at home, 28.5 points.
So I liked one New York team. I will say I am confident or not confident in the other New York team and their implied total. It's the Jets. I just wrote down, I think this is a JV team. I'm pretty sure that if they got together and the owners are talking to Woody Johnson, who's the Jets owner, they're like, hey man, so who you guys rolling out there? Who has had at your positions? They've hit their implied total just once over the last month. And it was against the Falcons. But the Jaguars have won 5 of their last 6 games. And the weird part about the Jets is you look at their offense and you go, okay, maybe I could pay for Brees. They're just not throwing him the ball, man. He's on track for 39 receptions this year. So it feels like a player that you're paying in the 6K range every single week, and you're getting no PPR upside.
I'm with you. It's a low team total. I think it's probably Brady Cook this week. Obviously, Tyrod left with the groin injury. Justin Fields was quietly inactive in this game, which is why we saw Brady Cook with a knee injury. So there's just a ton of systemic risk with the team. So I'm with you. Similarly, I will take the Brett Rippin Farts led Colts. I mean, dude, I feel so bad for Daniel Jones and the team. They went all in this year to make a run, and it's over. Now they go on the road to Seattle. The Seahawks, incredible luck of who they've played at quarterback has been unbelievable over the last 5-6 weeks. Obviously, they had the Max Brosmer game at home. Now they have the Brett Rippin game at home, and could Jonathan Taylor break off a couple long runs and keep this thing competitive? In theory, possible. But we've seen a lot of Brett Rippin farts in the league, and it is stinky. So give me under 15.5.
Yeah, you and I were looking at the Seahawks schedule. Since their Week 8 bye, they played a hurt Jaden Daniels, who didn't finish the game. They played Jacoby Brissett. They played Stafford, and they lost that game. But then they played Cam Ward, Max Brosmer, some guy named Kirk Cousins, and then it'll be whatever the Colts roll out there. It's just been it's a good team.
Oh yeah, Seahawks are great.
Did you just see that they have the second highest or second best Super Bowl odds?
I did see that.
Does that feel a little mispriced? Considering they could be a wild card team.
Yeah, it's tricky. I think the NFC is tough, and it's all those division teams. Like, obviously the Rams are up there. That's tough. The Packers are tough. But I do think the Seahawks defense is that good. So if Darnold doesn't have the implosion games that he had last year at the end of the year, I think that is justified. I don't know if I'd make them second, but I think they definitely deserve to be, top 4 or something.
All right, well, let's pause for a second and look at this, because this will be a fun game for you.
Okay,
I'm looking at the odds to come out of the NFC. So in other words, you win the NFC, you go to the Super Bowl. The top odds are the Rams. I think that's the easiest one. It's at plus 220 on DraftKings. Then it's the Seahawks at plus 360. What team would you put next in the NFC? I know you're not looking at standings or anything, but
I would probably put Packers.
Yep, the Packers at plus 425. Who do you think has the 4th best odds?
Niners.
It is the Philadelphia Eagles at plus 600. And then the Niners are down there at plus 1100.
Don't bet the Eagles.
I'm looking at this line. I'm like, there's no possible way.
They should be like 6th in odds.
Then it's the Lions, Bears. I like that you can still bet the Vikings.
Dude, last year, I forget what team it was, but there was somebody that was been eliminated from playoff contention for 3 weeks, and they still had odds to win the Super Bowl on the book. Come on, man. I know, if you're betting this stuff, you should understand what's happening and not be dumb enough to bet that team. But books actually laying a line that is literally not even possible to win is bullying. Like, come on, we're already losing money to the books on, the odds and everything. It's just like, give me a break.
Yeah, man, if you really want to flush money down the toilet, the Dolphins and Vikings are plus 100,000. Poor Colts, man. I'm looking at the Super Bowl odds right now.
Oh, what are they?
13,000.
Good. Dude, a month ago, that team was rolling. Then they trade for Sauce Gardner. That's tough.
All right. I know we'll jump into some salary standouts, but any Super Bowl long shot that you like that you could place right now? Gosh, I feel like the teams at the top: the Rams, Seahawks, Packers, Bills. The Bills have the best odds to win the Super Bowl out of the AFC, and they will end up being a 5 seed.
What are their odds overall? Like, where are they in the order?
They're 4th.
I mean, that seems like a nice value play, Kyle, if you will. To me.
The Bills?
The Bills, yeah.
The Bills to win the Super Bowl, but it's Andy and I were talking through this the other day. We're looking at different odds. Like, they have the same odds right now, plus 370, to represent the AFC as the Patriots. And even better odds slightly than the Broncos, despite the fact that they will start the playoffs most likely on the road and play on the road all the way through.
It's Josh Allen, man.
Dude, Josh Allen this year, we were talking about it also on the main show, that he's won all the really, really tough games this year. Like, he's beaten Mahomes, he's beaten Lamar, he beat Burrow this past week. He couldn't get past Davis Mills, couldn't get past Tua, and boy, he could not get past Michael Penix on that Monday night.
Who could forget?
Yeah, no, it's what a weird season. All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll talk about some salary standouts.
Adobe Acrobat Studio, so brand new. Show me all the things PDFs can do. Do your work with ease and speed. PDF Spaces is all you need. Do hours of research in an instant with key insights from an AI assistant. Pick a template with a click. Now your prezzo looks super slick. Close that deal? Yeah, you won. Do that, doing that, did that, done. Now you can do that with Acrobat. Now you can do that with the all-new Acrobat. It's time to do your best work with the all-new Adobe Acrobat Studio.
Getting more as a MyLowe's Pro Rewards member is easier than ever with the Lowe's app. Download it today and earn 500 points the first time you log in. Plus, your digital wallet helps you scan, save, earn, and access what you need to manage it all in one place. Download the Lowe's app and take advantage of your Pro benefits today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid 12/1/25 through 1/7/26. Offer valid for first login per organization only. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Additional restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms for more details. Subject to change.
Salary standouts.
All right, this is Tuesday, and we are mentioning some players in our player pool earlier in the week that stand out to us that hopefully you can start building as you get to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. At quarterback, the guys from that game that we talked about earlier, Lions and Rams, Stafford's at $7K, Goff's down at $6,100. So there is a little bit of savings, but both of these guys are expensive for being pocket passers that are zeros in the run game. So it's like, I'm looking at that game and I was trying to profile, okay, how would I stack up this game that has that huge 55.5 total? I'm like, man, Stafford's expensive. I need 4 touchdowns, but not just that. I need 4 touchdowns. I need a 300-yard bonus, and I need the rest of the field to not do great at their price point. So it's like, I never end up playing Stafford.
I know, it's tough, right? Because every week I'm like, he can't keep throwing 3 touchdowns. And then he goes out and throws 4. And like, his touchdown rate this year and what he's doing is truly unbelievable. And that's why he's the favorite to win the MVP. I will say, though, if there's a spot to keep it going, it's this one. The Lions have major injury issues in the secondary.
5 touchdowns.
6. You could ladder.
Okay.
Let's ladder it, Kyle. Let's ladder it.
Okay.
Major injury issues. Obviously, Terrion Arnold done for the year. Brian Branch done for the year. Like, Kirby Joseph hasn't played in 2 months, basically. Like, I think Stafford and Puka and Devontae can kind of do whatever they want here. And the Rams' defense has been great, but we know historically great offense beats great defense. So I think the Lions can come out and, keep up their end of the bargain and really just push this thing back and forth. So I'm having a tough time poking holes in the spot for these quarterbacks.
What's funny is we've looked at Stafford's rushing prop a couple of different times on the year. We've looked at it for the main show because now his rushing line is basically a point like out there where it's not like half a yard anymore. It's at like negative because on the season he's averaging like negative rushing yards per game because of the kneels. So it's just funny when he shows up in the spreadsheets as, oh, his projections look negative.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Because
they're winning so much because they just kneel it at the fourth quarter.
Yes. So, I mean, some books are laying the lines of like -1 or negative half a yard.
That's crazy.
So, those quarterbacks we'll talk about more later. I think Jackson Dart at 5,600 is going to be the cash play of the week. When you sort by fantasy points per dropback, he just looks like a player that should be priced in the 6K range because of the way he runs. So fantasy points per dropback is a really good metric we talk about a lot because it factors in scrambles, not just pass attempts. So when you look and you sort by that, he's up there with Josh Allen, who's at 0.72 fantasy points per dropback. He's at 0.65. He's right above your boy Jalen Hurts. So I think Jackson Dart at 5,600 will be the cash click of the week.
Agreed.
Presented by some cool sponsor.
Agreed. I will say we're still waiting, like I said, on Jaden Daniels news, but if you're over on FanDuel this week, Mariota is priced, well, I'm not trying to be mean by saying this. He's priced as a backup because he is a backup, but he's down at 6,700. If he's the guy against the Giants, I could see him also being very popular in that same game.
Was he fun as a Eagles backup? I can't remember.
He didn't really do anything.
Okay.
Which is good. You want your backup to not do anything.
Oh, see, we trusted him as a starter, so that's where we went wrong.
Arthur. Love that guy.
Dude, Mariota was such a fun college quarterback.
Oh, he was, dude. The Oregon days, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what it comes down to is just dudes being dudes talking about, hey, remember when this guy played at this college?
Do you remember that guy? I will say, I mean, if we're looking for, you remember that from 2025, it's going to be the magical 2 months that we had with Jacoby Brissett and Michael Wilson.
Yes.
You remember that guy? What did he put, like 40 DraftKings points, like 4 weeks in a row? Remember that guy's name? That's going to be us in like 3 years. Yeah, Michael Wilson.
Yeah, he got that big contract, kind of like Kenny Golladay, right?
Kenny G.
Tyler Shuck is also priced in a way where I think he's fine at 4,900. I liked talking about him last week. I like that we got to play him in a couple of spots, a little bit more expensive. And if you are searching your player pool right now, I cannot find Phillip Rivers in my player pool. We still have to wait on that news and whatever that is, but I know that was the first thing I did is just jump in there and see what happens. I knew he wasn't going to be in there, but it was like searching for a Christmas present.
Now, if they do sign him, do you think he starts? I think they're signing him as a backup, is my understanding.
Yes. There is. So Phillip Rivers Hall of Fame case, if he signs with the team and he's active, it resets his Hall of Fame clock where he has to wait another 5 years. If he's on the practice squad, it doesn't.
Oh, okay. I get behind that. If I'm Phillip, I'm like, yeah, a little extra money, on the practice squad. It's all good.
Yeah, we all know he's got the kid, so I don't mind. I don't mind if Phillip Rivers said, hey, honey, we need some extra Christmas cash this year. I haven't been doing well with my DFS bankroll.
How many kids does he actually have?
I feel like if I Google it real quick, AI is going to tell me something tell me something that's wrong. It says 10. So, way to go, Phil.
That makes me so anxious. Can you imagine?
The Christmas cash that he needs?
Just 10 kids.
My grandfather was one of 13. My great-grandfather was one of 18.
Good Lord.
Italian families, man. Okay, so the only other name we want to mention is Lamar on FanDuel at 8.2, because if he's got his groove back, that is a game that I think will get overlooked because of the Rams and Lions game, but we talked about earlier as being right up there in terms of over-under. Running back is interesting this week. There's a lot of names. We talked about how many games there are. CMC is at 9K on DraftKings. Jahmyr Gibbs is at 8,800. Do you think the field will pay up for one of those two?
Yeah, I do. They're both awesome plays. I think my early lean is probably McCaffrey against the Titans, but nothing negative to say about Gibbs because I think we'll get a couple of cheaper options. We're still waiting on what's going on with Nick Chubb. Not that it really matters a lot because he hasn't had a huge workload recently, but Woody Marks is only 5,600 against the Cardinals, and if you get him this week, you can pair him pretty easily with one of those expensive guys, especially if we're paying down at quarterback. So I think early in the week, one of those two running backs look like, and you can't go wrong, awesome plays for cash games.
I think I lean Gibbs right now for the game environment, for the, like, I don't want to get buried by him. And
not worried about CMC burying you?
I'm worried about ignoring parts of that game where that game could go off for 70 points.
Good.
There are routes where McCaffrey and the Niners get up by 3 touchdowns. It's the third quarter. I know I'm just speculating here, but I think my early lean is Gibbs, and I just love the passing work. I love the fact that what's funny is that he has really inefficient games. 3 of his last 4 games, he's been at 3.6, 3.4, and 3.2 yards per carry, but he also mixed in a 14.6 in there.
Well, we took this under on rushing last week, and people were like, we can't do that. What are you talking about? It's like, guys, it happens. It happens. Like when you think about distribution of outcomes, he's not really a median outcome type of guy, right? Like he does have those games where it's good, not great, but he has a ceiling that is pretty much unmatched by other running backs for the most part. Like McCaffrey, of course, good.
Other than CMC.
But just like the way he's being used currently with Dan Campbell is not what was happening early in the year. And look, like there's like narrative-y based stuff at this time of the year, but like when you really think about it, the Lions are a team that have to win games. They have to win games. And no disrespect to David Montgomery, but when you watch him on the field compared to Jahmyr Gibbs, if I'm Dan Campbell, I'm saying, how can we get Jahmyr Gibbs the ball as much as possible to ensure we can make the playoffs? That's the logical thing. And you've seen Montgomery's, touch count really come down this year. So I do think Gibbs' ceiling here is massive.
Over the last month, he has 40% of the Lions' total rush attempts and targets. So 40% of the plays have been Jahmyr Gibbs.
That is silly.
That's what I'm saying. It's at the point now where I'll save a little bit of money. I'll go with the better game environment. That's my early lean in the week. In the middle range, because I think that's how people are going to play it, they're going to pick somebody from the expensive luxury brand, and then they're going to go bargain shopping. You have Woody Marks down at 5.6 against Arizona. They're almost a 10-point favorite at home. So is that the line of thinking is like, he's the guy, they've treated him that way over the last month or 6 weeks. I think he's at 31% of the team's total targets and rush attempts, but just kind of that perfect price point.
Yeah, and you should watch what Kyron Williams and Blake Corum did last week against this defense and this team, which, again, you get to this time of the year, there's certain teams that are looking ahead to the offseason. Obviously, the Cardinals are one of those. So the matchup is good, and then Nick Chubb dealing with a rib injury as well. Will open up, I think, even more opportunity for Woody, who I don't think has been like awesome this year. Like he's kind of been inefficient and it's been more of a volume type thing, but he is, I think, explosive in the pass game. I don't know why they're not using him in that way, but he does have that in his profile, at least, that we know it's possible. So whether it's on the ground or in the air, obviously at the price point, especially if you're trying to prioritize one of CMC or Gibbs, I think it just makes it all work.
Do you know what his first name is?
I did know this back in prospect season, but I've forgotten.
Joquavius.
How could you forget that?
Dude, I got it in my spreadsheets. So a lot of the running backs in the middle range have really hard matchups this week. Like RJ Harvey is somebody you could have played this past week. He's 6K, plays against the Packers. It's a tough matchup. Marion Hampton, who looked pretty good for his first game back, 5,900, it's against the Chief. Ashton Genty plays against your Eagles. That game has a 38.5 over-under, by the way.
I would take the under.
Did you see the Raiders' implied total?
It's got to be like, 15 points or something?
13.
Goodness, man. Hey, it could be Kenny Pickett. Revenge game.
Yeah. No, who could forget Kenny Pickett as an Eagle?
Eagle great.
Chase Brown is also interesting just because he's been solid really over the last 2 months. Like he went from being one of the biggest busts in fantasy to really, he's been the RB8 over the last 2 months. He's at 6,800. Rico Dowdle at 6,600 is also interesting to me. So, any interest in our boy Travion Henderson against the Bills' run funnel defense, 6,100?
This is going to be one of those, I think, tournament only plays, because we don't really know what Vrabel's going to do, right? Like, we saw that stretch where Ramondre was out. Travion was incredible. And then we saw the first game back with Ramondre. It was mostly Travion as Ramondre worked back from the toe injury. Then in the game before the bye week against the Giants, it was basically a 50-50 split. So I think that's probably what we're going to see is a 50-50 split. You could make the argument. We do see sometimes rookies out of the bye week get a little bit of a bump in their usage. So in the matchup, I certainly am into that from a tournament perspective. But I think for cash games, just the workload is too uncertain.
At wide receiver, Puka is the exact same price. So that's nice.
Why didn't they move him?
I don't know. I'm not in charge. I filed a complaint, though. A strongly worded letter.
Oh, a handwritten letter?
Desk. Yep, on somebody's desk. I actually got it expedited. I made sure to pay for the extra to get it there today.
Got to. Yeah, I do want to, I love Puka this week. I do want to point out, if you're interested in playing JSN, he is wide receiver 2 on DraftKings. He is wide receiver 1 and 10,000 on FanDuel, which, look, he's incredible. He could do it. That's a tough price to pay, especially if we think it'll be Brett ripping farts on the other side.
Yeah, Puka 8,700 on DK, JSN 8,600, Jamar Chase is 8,100. Are you interested in that as he's the cheapest of those plays, or it's like, hey, I'm just gonna wait? I genuinely waited until the end to figure out those 3 wide receivers this past week, and I sided with Puka and cash, JSN in a couple of tournament lineups who looked great in the early window, and then Puka came through, and then I sprinkled in Jamar Chase, but I feel like all 3 of those, and then you have Amon-Ra at 7,900, who's also going to be a great play. Like, the elite wide receivers, I feel like you're going to see builds with at least one of them in there.
I think the one that probably gets lost in the shuffle the most is Amon-Ra, just because of the excitement around Gibbs. And at that price point, it's like, oh, I'll just find the extra few $100. I'll play Chase. I'll get up to Puka. So I think Amon-Ra is going to be really fun tournament play, especially if you think about leverage off of Gibbs. But man, anytime Jamar Chase comes off of a down game the following week, I definitely am interested in going right back to him. So I think he's really, really intriguing this week. But I think for cash, for me, it'd be Puka if I'm prioritizing one of these guys. At least that's my lean early in the week.
All right, in the middle range, we have to have a conversation about Michael Wilson, who is $6,600 against the Texans. Is that just like sure, in a tournament, but like he's off the cash conversation, I'm assuming?
40 DK points, Kyle. You get that at 8,800, you're still happy, right? So come on, he's underpriced. No, in all seriousness, we're still waiting. We'll figure out Marv and all that stuff, but just in general, I'm not into this spot at all. For the Cardinals, I think when you look at target share and projection and that type of stuff, he will look decent if Marvin Harrison is out. But remember, every time he gets more expensive, he has to keep doing more. And it's one of those things that we keep joking about. He can't keep getting away with it. Can't. He still does. But yeah, at 6,600, that's a tough price point for me, given the matchup.
What's so sad is that, if you look at his season-long numbers, it looks fine. Like, his targets per out run over the course of the season, 20%. It's fine. Yards per out run, 1.51. His fantasy points per route run, because he was such like a cardio king for a majority of the year, like, he has fewer fantasy points per route run than like DJ Moore or who's another? Rashid Shaheed or, Parker Washington. Like, he looks like a middling guy if you look over the course of the season. And obviously we're looking at the last, 5 to 6 weeks. So he's probably not in the conversation this week. Zay Flowers finally did something this past week. He's 6,300. Chris Olave at 6,200. Looks like a fine tag if you're sorting by targets per dollar. Anybody else in the middle range? Wandale. What about Wandale? 5,900.
Wandale is grossly mispriced on FanDuel. He's 5,800 over there, and I can almost guarantee he's going to be in one of the most popular cash game plays. I think Wandale's fine on DraftKings if you just get that upside of the matchup and reception volume. His massive game came against the Lions with Jameis Winston a few weeks ago, so now we have Dart. But yeah, I think Wandale's good on both sides. if you drop down a little bit further, I don't think the game environment as far as back and forth is going to be awesome, but I do like Jaden Higgins, who's kind of come on in recent weeks. He's only 4,200. Good matchup here against the Cardinals.
Yeah, the punt options this week, earlier in the week, if you wanted to play Pat Bryant at 3,900, but I think my favorite one, because he has my heart, is Jack Besh, who we will profile on the Dynasty podcast if you want to listen to that on Wednesday.
Oh, baby.
I went back and watched all the routes of the entire season, and it is quite boring for part of it. But anyway, he had 6 targets this past week. He finally overtook Tyler Lockett for the in terms of route participation. He is $3,200. That is really all I'm really bringing up is like he's cheap. He's getting more playing time. They will be behind their implied totals gross, but 3,200.
4 or 5 catches, 50 yards, cash games. That's doable.
Yeah, it's gross, but man, the glory play of getting a Jack Besh touchdown in cash.
Don't talk me into a good time, Kyle.
Does sound amazing. At tight end, Harold Fannin Jr. is still not priced up enough for his role and how good he's been. He's 4K. If you're sorting by targets per out run and you start going down the list, you're like, man, there's a lot of tight ends that don't get targeted that much. There's not Trey McBride. There's not Bowers. It's like you have to go down the list and everybody's like 18%, 19%. That's fine. And then you get to Harold Fannin Jr., who's at 25%. He has 25% of the team's receiving yards. Only McBride and Bowers have more. So at 4K, he's too cheap.
And David Njoku going to be out this week with a PCL injury. So, dude, Fannin's been awesome. He's been great. And
He's such a fun player.
It's kind of gotten lost because the Browns have had a obviously disappointing season or they haven't been good. But I think they found something in him. I mean, he's the guy in the future right there. And honestly, like right now, he's tight end 1. So yeah, I like Fannin quite a bit. If you just want to pick on the Bengals, I get it. Mark Andrews is 3,900. He's 5,300 over on FanDuel. Last time these two teams played on Thanksgiving, it was Isaiah Likely that kind of stole the show. So I wouldn't be surprised by that, but I also wouldn't be surprised if both guys get home in this matchup based off what we've seen this year. Bengals are currently on pace to give up over 1,600 yards total to opposing tight ends. Is just the commitment to the bit by the Bengals defense is truly amazing.
Could you play Likely, though, at 3,400?
Oh, for sure. Especially if you're going to stack up Lamar. That makes sense to me.
No, could you play Likely in cash?
I probably wouldn't. I'd probably play Andrews, but I think in a tournament he's interesting.
I think he's there. 6 targets each last 2 weeks. He also has, 2 could have been touchdowns as well.
Oh, dude. Did you watch the one this past week?
Yes.
I don't understand. Like, how is that not a touchdown?
No one knows anything anymore. No one knows how to describe the way the NFL works. It's a very mysterious sport. Can I mention, I don't even think the drop works anymore, but can I mention Ben Senator? Ben Sennett? Let me see if this drop even works. Nope, it's dead. He was removed from my board because
I am the Senate.
There it is.
2,700. There's no way I'm going to play him. I just needed to mention it.
It would be fun for the brand, for Mike, for the Dynasty Show if that did happen. But yes, I don't know that I will go there.
All right, finishing up at defense, if you want to play the Browns, who are number 1 in pressure rate against Caleb Williams, they are 2,700. Apparently, they can't stop the run, though. So there is a little bit that scares me of that play because they couldn't stop the run this past week against the Titans. And then from experience, dude, when the Bears run game gets going, they could just run all over you.
They sure can. They absolutely can. I know you mentioned a sneaky game for Carolina and New Orleans. I also think the Saints defense is in play too. They're just cheap. 2,500 on DK, 3,200 over on FanDuel is very cheap. And to Bryce Young's credit, he's had some nice moments this year. We also have like the old Bryce Young that comes out every once in a while where you're like, dude, what is happening? So I like the Saints just as a very cheap play this week.
There are lots of fun mid-level options. We'll profile those later in the week, but I'm looking across the board, like in this 2,800 to 3,400 range. There's lots of really good defenses that are not priced up, like the Broncos. Could be a team that you say, hey, I really want to go there. The Packers on the other side of that game have been a really, really good unit. I could also see myself playing the Rams because they've been so good to gain some leverage. The Ravens, if you think they're good, the Chiefs. I mean, there's just lots of different options. So make sure you check out all of our best plays later on in the week. And Betz, sign us off.
I needed this show today, Kyle. I needed it to get over the stage of grief that I'm in with this team. But hopefully everybody else out there had an awesome Week 14. We're on to Week 15, fantasy playoffs, best ball playoffs, and another awesome DFS slate coming up. We'll catch you guys on Friday to break it down with some props to DFS. See you then.
Thank you for listening to another edition of the Fantasy Footballers DFS and Betting Podcast. Don't forget to visit us on the web at thefantasyfootballers.com.
Hey guys, back at the playground again, huh?
Yep. You know what this playground could use? A wine country.
Heck yeah, and some waves so we could go surfing. Oh,
yeah. Love that.
A redwood forest would be cool.
I'm in.
Ski slopes.
Let's do it.
Can a girl go shopping?
Yeah, baby.
Wait. Did we just invent California?
Discover why California is the ultimate playground at visitcalifornia.com.
My dog Max loves chewing on my favorite pair of shoes, almost as much as he loves his Blue Buffalo Life Protection Formula dry dog food. Seriously, he never leaves a crumb. And I love it too, because it's made with high-quality protein, antioxidant-packed fruits, and nutrient-rich veggies. Blue Buffalo foods are made with the superior ingredients your dog needs to thrive. Can your dog food say that? Visit feedbluefood.com to learn more.